Welcome to the third episode of SKS Media. We have Asmi Pokharel.
Hi! Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me, Shrey.
Thank you, Ashmi. That said, let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off. I love the coffee
So-
already. Cheers.
So, कुरा गर्ने भन्दा अगाडि पनि, if you want to just introduce yourself, quick 60-second, well, 60-second होइन, but quick elevator pitch. So,
Okay.
तिमी यहाँ आएदेखि till 2025, like
Okay.
quick summary.
Quick summary. That's a long journey to just go quick. Well, my 2015 my USA, I came as an international student and I majored in biotechnology. But in between, to paper banaune, green card banaune, all of that thing, I switched to nursing. So I did nursing for a little bit. I was working in the clinical and I was working with a lot of patients, and that's when I realized I want to get into science, like research there. So I came back to Boston. And then graduated in biomedical research, and right now I am a scientist. I work in the biotech field in Boston. Well, that's 60 seconds. Let's kind of
फेरि cheers गरिदिनु यही कुरामा.
It's जाओस् हैन.
So, let's start US आउने भन्दा अगाडि, right? तिम्रो like what was like where did you grow up Nepalमा अनि just experience growing up in Nepal and what made you decide more USA also भनेर?
So I was born and raised in Rajdhani, so Kathmandu. So ma BS Niketan school ma padera hurkera. I grew up completely in Kathmandu. So and I was a major of biology. So 11-12 मैले नेपालमै पढे अनि I don't know, for some reason नेपालमा चाहिँ science लिने बित्तिकै either you're a doctor, engineer or a pilot. Right? And I really hate that. We need to change that. And in Nepal, it looks like doctor, engineer, or pilot banda bike or kune career choice nahi chaina jasto cha ni. So I tried to be a doctor, of course. that didn't work out. So I also did AZ Vet for a little bit. So 12 sakepachi agriculture and veterinary courseहरू गरे entrance exam को लागि. And I have a very funny story. Can I share that?
Please. This is why we're here.
Okay, I love that. So, you know what? AZ Vet गर्नको लागि चाहिँ I went to Chitwan and त्यहाँ चाहिँ crash courseहरू हुन्थ्यो and I stayed in a hostel and मेरो exam को preparations blah 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 चलिरहेको थियो and I was really good student back then. I think I am still, I don't know. And मेरो almost, I think I passed with like 80% or something.
Wow.
But the hostel ma, there was a mouse. Hostel बस्दाखेरि मुसा थियो के. And I have a big mouse phobia, like big. And म एकदम डराउँछु मुसासँग हैन. And I literally cried. I called my mom and I'm like, I cannot do this. I'm coming back to Kathmandu.
And this is after तिम्रो
After 12, yeah. After 12.
Yeah.
So 12 सकेपछि 12 सकेपछि I went to Chitwan. There was a mouse. मेरो scholarship सब छोडेर I came back to Kathmandu and my mom was like, what next? अब के गर्ने? Doctor नि बनेन AZ Vetमा मुसा आयो. What are you gonna do? And I was like, maybe USA. And the irony, I actually work with mouse now. Because I'm a scientist.
You do.
I know.
So त्यो US को वाला चाहिँ I mean there's so many places you can go, right? Australia, US, Europe भयो. So what made you choose US?
So for me, so biotechnology, in Nepal, we don't really have a lot of courses or we don't really have any universities for biotech and research. And when I looked around, obviously Boston is one of the biggest hub for biotech research and all of those, especially science college. And that was one of the main reason why US. Definitely, if I was willing to go for nursing, I would have thought about Australia or Europe or other countries. But my number one choice was US because I also have like some of my cousin and family here. So, you know, back support and all of that. And my best friend was already here when I was applying for United States. So that kind of made it a little bit easier. So they bought US. And I think the colleges that I was looking into was kind of convincing. So here I am.
Quick question, right? You आयुषसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि अनि personal experience usually US apply गर्दाखेरि you're not really too sure about ठ्याक्कै यो स्टेटमा यो हुन्छ यो सिटीमा त्यो हुन्छ. So did you always knew कि Boston चाहिँ biotech hub हो कि or?
No, so I do want to point this out because नेपालमा कस्तो हुन्छ भने normally अब मेरो पालामै not that old but
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. But त्यो टाइममा चाहिँ like whenever you apply for any abroad study, consultancies जाने चलन थियो हैन. I think अहिले पनि छ. And no offense to any consultancies, but I do not like it because मैले मेरो चाहिँ experience एकदमै नराम्रो भयो क्या unfortunately. I went to a consultancy and they were like, तिमी यही स्टेटमा जानै पर्छ, यो युनिभर्सिटी लिनै पर्छ, यो कोर्स गर्नै पर्छ, you have to pay this much, blah blah blah. And they were like, they gave me a very restricted limitations choices कि यति मात्रै गर्न मिल्छ type को. अनि because I had my friends and family here and I asked them, I obviously consulted, and it's not my story to say, but one of my friend, he came here 12को एक्जामको रिजल्ट आउनुभन्दा अगाडि नै उसको भिजा लागिसकेको थियो कि. So, that's not a traditional way to come to the United States, right? So, I did consult with him and he was like, just research. After research, you have an internet with you. Research all the universities and courses that you want to go through. So, do not listen to those consultancies. He advised me.
So the consultancy, or say, like in your perspective, why do you think they're so limiting? Like,
yeah, I think तिमीले जति स्टुडेन्टहरूलाई पठाउँछौ नि, and based on, I do have this story because I'll come back to that. Based on how many students you send, they get commissions out of that. So तिमीले एकजनालाई तिम्रो भिजा लगायो अनि कुनै युनिभर्सिटीमा पठाएर, if they do like 1 semester or 2 semester, you get a commissions. So मेरो केसमा चाहिँ I went to a consultancy and मलाई योमै गर भनेर भन्यो, but I didn't do that. And I applied to different colleges and all of that, right? So, and the consultancy was so mad at me because they couldn't get the commissions because I also did early transfer. So, मेरो visa Arizona मा लागेको थियो. I came to Arizona, and after a week, I came to Boston. And a lot of people don't know that you're eligible to do early transfer. मान्छेहरु चाहिँ ट्रान्सफर गर्न पनि डराउँछ नि त, and that's not how it works. You can just like तिमीले different collegeहरु जहिले पनि apply गर्न पाउँछौ, and you can always request for early transfer. You can transfer before you spend 1 whole semester to the university. So I came straight to community college actually. So not a lot of
Arizona ma?
No, in Boston. Nepal I came straight to Boston at community college, at Quincy college. So people normally, normal traditional way ma say you go to ali gaon jasto ठाउँमा university ma, you spend a semester and then you take a transfer, right? But that's not always the way. Aru different routes haru pani huncha, and I did one of that.
So let's say your whole process until which eventually you landed in Boston. When was this?
Well, I landed in Arizona.
Then
on August 5th of 2015. That was the date. यस्तो गर्मी थियो. I was like, I'm from Kathmandu. Oh my god, हावा पनि चल्दैन गर्मी.
Okay, so talking about that, August 5th, 2015.
Yes.
You landed in Arizona. So what was your experience like when you first landed? Like, let's say, top 3 biggest cultural differences or...
Yeah, I think the climate first, because it was so way too hot. It's August, man, Arizona. And I felt like hot, but Viratnagar is my mama god. I thought like, I just thought.
Temperature ma say?
Yeah, temperature ma, right?
Temperature ma kati थियो?
I don't know. I don't really know. They were Fahrenheit, Celsius. I was very naive. First thing was that. And second was, I think I had so many cultural shock, but then food. And I only eat chicken. So me to like already limited choice of food too. And I didn't even know how to order in the restaurants or anywhere. Like Chipotle logi, he just brought like, picked us up, and then I've never had Chipotle, for example, in my life. I went there and I was like,
it's not there in Nepal.
Exactly.
I don't think it's anywhere but
there is no Chipotle in Nepal, right? And there is no Nepal mata.
Also, they might not even know what Chipotle is.
Yeah, so Chipotle bhaneko chai, it's like a buffet, whatever.
How do you explain it?
I don't know, wedding here, my buffet malas. I don't know, right?
Right, so anyways. Look it up. Anyways.
And it's good. Search Chipotle.
So Chipotle logyo ani?
And then I thought they were going to serve me, but they were like asking me, ke khane bhanera. I was like, kasari bhanne maile? Ke ho malai ke ta?
Dal bhat tarkari.
The only thing I knew, rice matrai thaha thyo tyo ke bhanne bhanera. Ani दाललाई बिन्स भन्दो रहेछ, म लेन्टल्स भनिरहेको थिएँ. What? म इङ्ग्लिस पनि बुझिरहेको थिइनँ कि त्यतिखेर. Because like, when you come, like I went to private school, right? So म इङ्ग्लिस बोल्न सक्छु, तर when you come here, like their English, like यहाँको Native American को English र हाम्रो English, there's definitely a lot of differences. And अहिले po I'm used to it because I've been here for 10 years. So आउने बित्तिकै there's a lot of like challenges even to navigate and communicate with them. So त्यो पनि अनि म एउटा like हाम्रो नेपालमा we do British English, so हाम्रो wording, हाम्रो pronunciation different, and they have different. So म lentils भनिरहेको छु, उनीहरू beans भनिरहेको छ. I was like, I don't know. So I think that was something that was very funny. But yeah, food.
Like, what was like an example, your language where actually, what is this?
Yeah.
There's one word.
Okra, ladies finger like okra भन्छ.
त्यो भयो pronunciation पनि is so different.
Garage, garage.
Garage भन्छ.
But no, garage. नेपालमा garage.
Garage.
नेपालमा garage.
एउटा this was really मेरो साथी थियो स्कुलमा हैन.
Yeah.
Chinese American, born and raised Brazilमा 13 सम्म तर lived here.
Yeah.
So pretty American, right? अनि maths गर्दाखेरि freshman year you know that word derivatives.
Yeah, derivatives.
I'm the derivatives.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, your derivatives, like, I don't know how to do this. It's like, what are you talking about? Derivatives. And I was like, it's like, oh, derivatives. Like, it's the tongue twister. But anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Language barrier.
Definitely. Chipotle ko kotha त्यति हो हैन, and then I figured it out. Like I asked for help and I was like, they will let the isara so that गर्दै बसे हैन. And then I think Uber and navigating Google Map चलाउनै आउँदैन थियो. And to be honest, now we have resources like this, right? You have this podcast and so many. I think people in Nepal right now, they know what Uber is and all of that. Back then, I had no idea how to order an Uber. I didn't even know Uber भन्ने कुरा exist Corsa and all of that. So that was something I had to learn. And त्यो बसहरुको पनि टक टाइममा आउँछ. And I was like 105 मा 107 मा बस आउँछ. I was like, wow. नेपालमा त म काठमाडौँमा झन् मेरो हुर्केको मान्छे बस त्यहाँ त पुरा टाइममै आउने हैन. ओ माय गॉड,
एक मिनेट ढिलो भयो
भने बस कुदिसक्या हुन्छ अनि कुद्नु पर्ने बस. So those are something very interesting but very also damn US
different, right?
Very different.
So talking about difference, obviously there's good and bad. So differences were like some differences that you were like, oh, I really like this, and some you were like, I don't know about this.
I don't know. So I really like, I think we have really good rules for transportation. Like first thing my US on a bit, I think I remember calling my mom and I was like, we have the bus time out. So like, we have a gari afai khulcha. Doka afai khulcha. Just stop garnu parcha. That was so fascinating for me, and especially me being from Kathmandu, jaile झुन्डेर म त literally bus ko chhatma ni चढेको छु.
Conductor खैको अब conductor दाइ कहाँ छ?
म त नेपालमा बसको त्यो छतमा झुन्डेर हिँड्ने मान्छे हैन. यहाँ त वाओ भन्थे के. So I think I really like the rules, especially traffic को and all of that, right? अनि I don't really know what I don't really like. I did झट्ट भन्न हैन, but I felt like आउने बित्तिकै चाहिँ there would be sense of like belongingness. They all come back because you have to go and adjust with somebody else lifestyle. Like साथीहरु बनाउँदा पनि के, I went to the college and I was looking for friends. नेपालमा त यस्तो सँगै बस्ने बित्तिकै you're friends, right? And you just like laugh at these joke भन्छ. But then here you have to have those boundaries in a way कि जिस्कायो भने पनि डर लाग्ने के भन्ठाने हो होला भनेर हुन्छ नि. I think I missed that. Like because नेपालबाट आउने बित्तिकै you don't really know how to communicate without being offensive.
Because like cultural
you don't really know how would they take you. Like तिमी smile एकदमै जिस्केर बोल्यो भने you don't know if they think you're hitting on them or you're being friends. She was from Dominican Republic, and she was one of the very cool friend and all of that, right? So more Nepalबाट भर्खर आउँदाखेरि when you meet a girl like a friend and you become really close, you're like very chill, जिस्काउने हाउ गर्ने हुन्छ. And then I'm that character too. But she thought I was hitting on her because it's America. And then she came to me one day and she's like, and I didn't know that she liked women. I mean, I had no idea. I was just 19 years old. So she came to me and she was like, you want to go out, this and that? And I was like, yeah, why not? Yeah, of course. So I think we went, like, she took real good care of me. She brought me like pastas and all of that. And she was like, do you like me? Do you want to date me? And I was like, sorry. I was like, I don't know. And I was like, no. I mean, that was such a big thing for me. Like, I never really thought that would happen. And then that's when it clicked me. It's a culture and you have to set your boundaries. And it's not like Nepal that you can hold hands of your girlfriends and walk together and all of that here.
So, wait, I'm still curious. What did you say?
I was like, I'm straight. I was like, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't really mean it that way. And, you're really good friends of mine. And she was like, oh, I thought like, and so it was a whole big mess. But we still talk. She's still a good friend. She got married to a guy. She got married to a guy. So, well, stories of my life. You're like, so
now you're here.
Now I'm here. But
we've known each other for about a little, 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, I think. And this is the first time.
This is the first time we're actually knowing about each other. So okay. So okay, Boston Bugyo.
Yeah, Boston Bugyo.
Probably got cold. But
यो म भन्छु ल म यस्तो hot Arizona बाट I think म 1-2 week मा like Boston August mid मा चाहिँ it was so cold. So cold. Like म त कस्तो तराईबाट Himalayan region मा गए जस्तो भयो के. And I was like,
because you did pretty much.
That was one of the biggest shock for me. अनि like जाडो पनि टोपी नै उडाउने जाडो के बस्नुमा त हावा लाग्छ नि त. So मेरो mind I think those were the thing that was so hard for me to like navigate or like adjust हुने एकदमै गाह्रो भएको थियो weather-wise. Yeah.
So let's talk about academics.
Yeah, okay.
I know. Boston, Iowa, those are all the differences, things you like, things you didn't like. About school ko bare kura garum. So the moment you stepped foot in Quincy,
Quincy.
The next 4 years, what did that look like?
So I went to Quincy. I did my BioTech. So this my associate ko lagi course haru garirate, and I don't know what happened. I decided to move to a different state. Long story, but yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I went to Baltimore for 2 years. I lived there for 2 years. It doesn't feel like it, right?
I mean,
again, you've always been, I've always been in Boston.
So, Iowa, Boston. How long did you stay?
So I was here for a year. So next year I went to Baltimore, like next fall. Because Baltimore University of Maryland, but there were like medical laboratory courses and all of that. So I thought that would be a good step up. And they were also providing a lot of scholarships. So I applied, but then my deadline only missed by timing. So I had to go back to community college there too. So I went there. And
so let's talk about the first year in Quincy.
First year in Quincy was fun.
Because that's probably the year where you're experiencing everything that's new.
Exactly. So first year in Quincy, as I said, I made friends who were mistaken for something else. That was funny. And apart from that, I think the college and system, Nepal ma ta ratta maar padera student, it's very different, Nepal ma chai there is a very much of a pressure कि तिमीले पढ्नै पर्छ यो गर्नै पर्छ भोलिपल्ट टिचरले सोध्छ all of that. And in here तिमी just assignment time मा सकायो भने it's okay. And I think म सुरुमा आउँदा त I was like कस्तो सजिलो यहाँ पढ्न त हुन्छ सजिलो लाग्यो नि त because नेपालमा it was really very different. So I came here अनि
so differences को बारेमा let's say what else was different?
I think for me, the system already, the education system, also, मैले algebra लियो भने नेपालमा मैले कति धेरै त्यो बच्चा 7-8 मा पढिसकेको यहाँ भर्खर पढिरहेको थिए के like simply like equations हरू हुन्छ नि. And that was something very weird for me at the time because हामीलाई त वहाँ बच्चामै पढाउँछ यहाँ त बल्ल 12 पास गरेपछि पढाउँदो रहेछ जस्तो हुन्छ नि. I felt like that. अनि those were different. And I think your relationship with your professors. In Nepal, you're always scared of your teacher. Always. Like, for no reason. I mean, there is reason. They were so harsh on you. I shared you my
literally, your first episode, I used to record we'll say, oh, bro, like, you नेपालमा त टिचरहरुसँग डर लाग्छ नि त केही भनिहाल्यो भने डस्टर फालेर ल्याउँछ अनि त्यहाँसम्म चाहिँ पुगेन. But
he was a good student, guys. Looks like it. Kind of. I'm the duster kind of.
Anyway, so त्यहाँ चाहिँ नेपालमा चाहिँ अलिकति डर लाग्ने कल्चर भयो यहाँ चाहिँ it's pretty open.
Yeah, pretty open. You can like go to your professor and professorलाई उनीहरुको नामले नै बोलाउँछ हैन अनि you know that's also something and also ठुलो ठुलो uncle auntyहरुलाई नै नामले नै बोलाउँछ and here in नेपालमा तिमीले राजेश मात्रै भन्नु पाउँदैन राजेश दाइ भन्नु पर्यो नि त हैन so you know those are some differences that we have अनि also your professors they're so understanding like ma as a मेरो assignment ma मेरो I had some problems like mental health today नै भयो भने पनि they would actually understand they would try to you know give you those opportunity to work on your assignments and all of that because they do prioritize your well-being before the grades and that is so important and that does not happen in Nepal. I don't know अहिले कस्तो हुन्छ but when I was in Nepal त्यो what is mental health नेपालमा म ज्वरो आएर होमवर्क गर्न भने झुट बोल्छस् म घरमा फोन गरौँ भन्छ ओकेर भन त so that was completely different so that happens in Nepal.
That's so crazy. Funny.
I know. Yeah, they're like
pretty relaxed. Yeah,
अलिकति chill छ.
But yeah.
But you know what? I also think because we are from Nepal, because of the culture and environment we grew up, अलिकति pressure भएर पनि we do excel in our studies. हाम्रो लागि काम साम गर्नु पर्दैन पढ मात्रै भन्छ नि त नेपालमा mostly अनि school अनि I mean I really appreciate all my teachers and my parents and all of that, you know. So त्यहाँ चाहिँ यस्तो हुन्छ यहाँ चाहिँ you're all by yourself and if you are someone who do not want to study or who don't really have vision it's really easy to just lose track because nobody really cares it's all on you like and especially if you're someone who's trying to come to the United States for abroad study you should have this mindset कि अब भोलि गएर मम्मीले पढ भन्दैन के you are there for yourself you have to wake up like no matter what you have to wake up at 5 a.m. 7 a.m. whatever time and you have to go to college नेपालमा पो ममले उठ 8 बजे go to school
I don't want to go
oh right
I don't want to go
it does not happen
मेरो बहिनी आउँथ्यो
है wow बहिनीले दादा
you're still asleep
see
but
in Nepal I mean यहाँ पनि तिम्रो बहिनी आउँछ होला what do you think दादा उठ भनेर but then
anyways
it's like
anyways this is not about me this is about you
but anyways मेरो पनि दादालाई उठाउनु पर्छ यार see all dadas are same दादाले त गाली गर्थ्यो उसले अझ 5 बजे उठाइदिए ल भन्थ्यो हैन अनि मैले उठाए पनि गाली गर्थ्यो किन उठाइस भनेर तिमीले गाली गर्दैन्थ्यो
मलाई गाली गर्छ नि त फेरि boss lady she's the head of the household
well now I am when I was kid Nepalma I was not I was so naive
so talking about you're pretty much here alone family China and all that stuff right so how do you navigate through that because अब सबै कसरी घरमा laundry नगर्न आउला right or laundry गरे पनि like it's washing machine dryer system यहाँ सबैको छ तर कति जनाको it might be different
exactly
खाना पकाउन देखेर it's going to be different
yeah
पढ्नीमा अब like just there's so many things that's different so how did you navigate through that
I think that is one of the most challenging thing being an international student because as I said nobody's going to be there to help you you have to figure it out yourself so मलाई आउँदाखेरि luckily I did have a couple of friends who were already here I did have like cousins and family in different states but they were here they knew how US would work right so अलिकति help भयो but again I'm a person who is very like आफै गर्छु भन्ने खालको छु हैन and so त्यतिखेर चाहिँ सुरुमा ल बस चढ्न या उबर बोलाउन and all of that couple of my friends helped me and then
Nepali or non-Nepali?
Nepali so and then my cousin मेरो Ubers I remember my cousin she was like नानु Uber भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ download it ल के हो I remember that right so सुरुमा चाहिँ I did get helped तर पछि बिस्तारै like day-to-day activities you don't really get help right so you have to go through it you have to make mistakes and you'll learn because I remember one of my first work that I did my Uber लिएर गए तर Uber I had to go to Arlington and it routed me to Cambridge so I had no way and I have the story म आए अनि म कहाँ छोडेको के गरेको केही थाहा छैन हैन उबरले छोडेर गयो and I found this Chinese lady she was there I remember her she was around in her 60s
where
in Cambridge, right?
Cambridge,
Harvard,
yeah,
Harvard Square, I remember. So Harvard Square, I was there, and then she was there, and I was like, I have to go to Arlington. I don't know, like I'm new here. I don't know. And she was like, she literally held my hand, and she was like, this is the bus. Let me take you to the bus station. She took me to the bus station. We talked a lot. And she was like, she told me she had been here for 30 years. And, she's from China. And we talked a lot. And then she showed me the bus. And I didn't really had like chains on me. So she gave me $2 bill. And then I went there, and then my specific Google Map use it. I navigated my way around. So saying that, people are really helpful here. Like मान्छेहरू यहाँ hi भन्यो भने hi भन्छ. And if you really ask for help, they are really ready to help you. So that's something that was new to me, but that is mostly how I navigated. I think I just like asked around, I researched, I talked to people, and I think I learned slowly. Yeah, that was. I don't know where the lady is, but thank you if you're listening. Yeah. She's probably waiting for $2. Yeah, I think so. I'll buy her a coffee. Dunkin' Donuts. So Boston, first year पछि you transition to Baltimore, right? अब त्यसको thought process के थियो? There's probably a whole different story to it. How does that transition work? Because like I didn't know about switching schools or all that. Second year somewhere, it was still new. I'm not really sure. So yeah, I think I really got good helps from my friends. So friends भन्दाखेरि पनि what I always do, even like when navigating for my work or anything, I always try to find connections who has already done that process. So I think that is how I navigated. So there were a couple of friends who were already going to those colleges and all of that. So I reached out to them and I was connected with them, and they helped me. My advisor like reach out gare, and there were a couple of like paperwork to be done, like तिम्रो creditहरू transfer गर्नुपर्छ. So तिम्रो transcript from one university चाहिँ अर्को transcript अर्को university मा transfer हुनुपर्छ. And as an international student, there is something called service ID. So तिम्रो I-20. What was it? I-20 हुन्छ हैन. I-20 मा चाहिँ service ID भन्ने हुन्छ. So that service ID is basically your ID, as an international student. So that service has to be transferred. So त्यो चाहिँ कलेजले नै गर्छ, your international student admission ले नै कलेजको communicate भएर गर्छ, but you have to apply. So मैले चाहिँ I applied to that community college at Baltimore, and they gave me an acceptance letter. And acceptance letter I-20 हुनुपर्छ. And acceptance र I-20 भएपछि मैले मेरो current कलेजलाई चाहिँ okay, I'm transferring, so please transfer my service ID भन्यो, and then they transfer. So transfer गर्नलाई चाहिँ help चाहिँ कसले गर्छ? Do you have your to do advisor yourself, or so you have to email, apply international student को लागि apply गर्ने छुट्टै पोर्टलहरु सबै कुरा हुन्छ हैन. But तिम्रो every universities or college मा चाहिँ तिम्रो international student advisor हुन्छ. So when you're an international student, you will get an advisor. So have that conversation and connections with your advisor. Email गरेर I'm doing this, I'm doing that भनेर चाहिँ भनिराख्नु पर्छ. अनि so अर्को कलेजमा कलेज B मा म ट्रान्सफर हुँदै थिए भने त्यहाँको एडभाइजरसँग कुरा गरे, अनि त्यहाँबाट सबै लाइक एक्सेप्टेन्स लेटर सब आइसकेपछि चाहिँ कलेज A मा A को एडभाइजरसँग चाहिँ I'm transferring भने. And then once you let them know that you have acceptance letter, अनि I-20 र acceptance letter छ भनेपछि चाहिँ they will उनीहरुले internally नै गरिदिन्छ सब. So let's say तिमी college A बाट college B transfer गरेछ भने you're talking to the advisor of college B. Yes. They help you with the whole thing, and last मा गएर college A. Yes. That's first you apply applications भर्ने, and then somebody will reach out to you, advisor or somebody. For people watching, they're probably like, damn bro, he probably knows this, and people so I don't know this or so much, that's why I'm asking. Yeah, but now you guys know as well. I didn't know it either. I didn't know it either. So when you do it, and then you know it. So Baltimore 2 years. Yeah. What was that like? People from Baltimore. Want me to come back to Boston? People from Baltimore is like, I know what was that like. No hate to Baltimore, because you know what? I had always been a good student. I never had any fun time. Well, I always had fun, and not in that way. Yeah. Baltimore गएपछि चाहिँ मैले drink गरे, club गए, like first time experience. I experienced drinking for the first time, going club for the first time, bunking for the first time in your life. Yeah, oh, wow. First time in my life. I was such naive student. I was a nerd. Just like you.
Anyway,
Yeah, just like you. Well, anyways,
so drinking audio,
first time, like not
and
like
then
drink nahi bhaneko, but
like just
first time experience, because there were so many. So Baltimore, there are so many Nepali students. Also, one thing, Boston, we didn't really had any Nepali community. कोही पनि थिएन, like
really
नेपाली चाहिँ दुई चारजना फटफुट मात्रै देखिन्थ्यो होइन. So भए पनि they were in so different like places, so Nepali community भन्ने चाहिँ थिएन क्या त्यतिखेर. And when I went to Baltimore, all the Nepalese people would stay in same apartment, khana pakaune, dasai manaune, tihar गर्ने, you know. And that is why I went to Baltimore. I missed that thing. I missed that belongingness. So you know, Baltimore ko साथीहरु चाहिँ they would live together, like not live भए पनि यो building बाट त्यो building मा type को के अनि कति धेरै नेपालीहरु अनि दशैं मनाइरा छ हैन. And I was like, wow, घर जस्तै हुन्छ भने, and that's why I went.
wow.
So that's how I got into all that partying and all of that. अनि bunk पनि गरे class एक दुईवटा.
Oh wow.
I hope my mom's not watching this, but you know, and those are some of the experience. But then I think one semester मात्र मैले त्यस्तो गरे है, धेरै गरिन.
Because obviously you're like what, 19?
Yeah, I was still a teenager by heart,
and you're experiencing everything.
Yeah, and then
21, I mean.
Also, I didn't have that experience living in the dorm. So I've heard dorm ma चाहिँ तिम्रो first semester dorm मा आउँदा चाहिँ you do all those things रे के. And I didn't do that. You know, म direct community college मा आएँ. So आउने बित्तिकै I started like going to school, working and all of that. So मेरो त्यो experience थिएन. So I think for me, the 2 semester पछि when I went to Baltimore, I had that. I also met really good friends there, and they were more like family and all of that. But I really missed Boston because I felt like Boston is pretty much a little bit more safe. And also,
safe in what sense, though?
Safe in sense that there is less crime and less racism in Boston, and because there's so many universities and so many like immigrants here that it's easy to like just go around and do things. And I did not know that it was not like that in Baltimore, because Baltimore there was Baltimore crime rate already high cha. And there's also racism, so that's a sad truth, but I have to put it out there. So यहाँ चाहिँ म 1 बजे राति पनि एक्लै फोन चलाएर हिँड्न सक्थे बस्टनमा. When I went to Baltimore, I would be scared. Like म राति 8 बजे अपार्टमेन्ट कम्प्लेक्समा जाँदा my friend was like, फोन लिएर यतिकै नहिँड है भने के. And I was like, damn भयो हुन्छ नि. And then also I
still didn't know about it.
Yeah. It's not that great. So सबै ठाउँ हैन, but there are certain places where you have to be very careful. So and then when I went to Boston, I was going to say something, I forgot. Anyways.
So Baltimore you went because you thought त्यहाँको BioTech or program was better.
Yeah, not BioTech भन्दाखेरि पनि for some reason I switched to nursing then.
Right.
So Baltimore गए, कलेजको युनिभर्सिटीको टाइमिङ मिलेन, and then because I had so many friends and त्यतिखेर चाहिँ they were like, त्यही भन्छ नि लैमा लाग्छ नेपालीहरु भनेर. I didn't really wanted to do nursing, but there were a couple of friends and seniors दाइहरु उहाँहरुले चाहिँ नर्सिङ गर्यो भने त एकैछिनमा ग्रीन कार्ड बन्छ.
Is it true?
Well,
or not?
I am not sure. I think it's probably easier than other fields. I'm not sure. You know, nursing is such a hardworking career to be in. And I think there are really good pros for being a nurse. But it's not like यत्तिकै मा त भन्दैन नि त. And but they were like nursing thing biotech मा त कामै हुँदैन के पनि हुँदैन, nursing गर भन्नुभयो के. And I was like, होला त नि भनेर I switched and I left all my biotech and I switched to being a nurse. That's how Baltimore ma. Yeah, I started doing my nursing there.
त्यो भइसकेपछि चाहिँ what made you come back to Boston? Let's hear that story.
So I did TEAS. So nursing ma चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भने, for those of you who are trying to do nursing, first you have to do your prerequisites. So biology के सबै requisites सकाएपछि there is an examination called TEAS. TEAS, TEAS भन्ने examination हुन्छ. त्यो exam मा pass भएपछि बल्ल you get into a nursing course के. So nursing त्यो exam TEAS गरे, and then I got into a nursing course. अनि कस्तो हुन्छ भने nursing course को चाहिँ it's completely different than any other courses. Like अरूमा त तिमीले आफै कोर्सहरु क्लासहरु चुज गर्न पाउँछौ, nursing मा you cannot do that. तिम्रो युनिभर्सिटीले तिम्रो कलेजले नै चुज गरेर दिन्छ के. यतिदेखि यतिसम्म यो क्लास भनेर हैन. So that's what happened. And then I did that in clinical huncha. So you go to like hospitals and then you work with the patients as an intern. So म school मै छु तर as an intern you go to working with the patient. So मेरो चाहिँ old care old age home मा थिए म first clinical चाहिँ. So there were old people, and I have to give them like, nursing or nourishment and all of that. And that broke my heart, and that's when I realized nursing is not for me. Like, it was like, I really respect that professions, but that was not for me. Because I had my patient there, and she was like 90 years old. She was talking to me, and then next day I came in, she was not there, and I was like, I don't think I can do that, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and do my, research. I switched from being a nurse to I came back to Boston because biotech, biomedical college Boston is really great. Yeah, it's the hub. And I came back to Boston and I continued my research, biomedical research.
With the nursing story that you mentioned,
it wouldn't
did you
transfer.
see a lot of other people that face the same thing? Normal theory?
I think so. I know there are so many people who do drop out.
Because, for example, damn, that would, I'm in the same boat. Because, like, next day you don't see him, and but see consistently, keep seeing that.
It's hard, So I do know that there are people who have. So also nursing magic when exam until 70%. Even test ke like examination pani like normal test and this one 70 plus you'll have to repeat the whole course in classes. So it's really, really, really very tough when you are into a nursing course. And a lot of students drop out and all of that. And nursing ko credit transfer within. So that's why I lost a year, I think 2 years. So my graduation only did away because nursing ko transfer I had to take a break and then I had to go back. So all of that. And then I do also have a couple of people who have switched like me. When you already get into nursing, practical garna thaleपछि you'd realize it's a lot of work. It's not just like science, but you also have to have that heart to deal with all the deaths and illness and all of that, right? So I felt like that. So I mean, this is not for me. I realized it, so I switched and I didn't go back to being a nurse.
So you transitioned to Boston. Did you transfer again to a different school, or were you done with school? What did that look
so like? Right after nursing, I transferred to the university at Salem State.
Wait, just to confirm, Baltimore, that was 3 years of your school, right?
Yeah.
So that means 1 year back.
Yeah. But then because my nursing transfer so I have to go back to Prairie Agadi because transfer
like from the start?
No, from the second year.
Second year.
So 2 years and lost
2 years in nursing ko bhayo. So now you're like, okay, mo biotech ma janchu, pheri Boston आउँछु.
So
and
basically bachelor's undergrad 4 years ko and it took more than 4 years because nursing gari bichama and nursing ko kehi pani transfer then. So you lost like 2 years. So so I had to do that again.
So okay, Boston ayo ani tyaबाट
And then I went to Salem State University and I did my major in biology with concentrations in biomedical research. And I enjoyed doing that. I loved doing all the science work, lab work, and I graduated from there. And this pachi, right after that, as an international student, you only get 3 years of time to work, like OPT bhanne huncha haina, STEM OPT huncha ani. Well, it's 1 year and then you can extend for 2 more years. So STEM OPT थियो. And I was so eager to work. So
wait, OPT is
optical
so OPT CPT bio.
Yeah. So CPT
कुन चाहिँ वाला internship, कुन चाहिँ वाला was.
So CPT भनेको चाहिँ you can do it before you graduate. So तिमी कलेजमै हुँदाखेरि you can apply for CPT for experience and you can work, and then graduation पछि तिम्रो time हुन्छ. OPT भनेको चाहिँ graduation पछि हुन्छ, and that is related to your immigration process and all of that. CPT चाहिँ तिम्रो कलेजले दिने हो, internship त्यस्तो. OPT चाहिँ तिम्रो immigration process ले दिने हो. So I did OPT. I didn't do CPT because I was already late with all of this, break and all of that. So पढाइ सकाउनलाई एकदम हतार भइरहेको थियो.
So Salem पुग्यो and 3 years.
No, I think I rushed into it. My यति धेरै कोर्सले समर क्लासले विन्टर क्लासले I think 1.5 or 2 years भित्रमा सकाएँ मैले.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was like dying to finish the classes. You know, I took all and also right COVID हुने बेला भइरहेको थियो भर्खर सटडाउनको कुरा चलिरहेको थियो सो अनलाइन गर्न पाएँ अनि अनलाइन गर्न पाउँदा चाहिँ मैले भयभरको सबै लिएँ कि and I worked so hard त्यो टाइममा चाहिँ I did it and I graduated with 4 GPA.
For real?
For real. Because, I was like,
For real? Camera
for real. I'm not kidding. 4.0. I'm not kidding. Yeah, not the whole overall, but the last two semesters. Last 2 semesters, I did 4.0 because I was like, you know what? I have to do it. I have to.
Wow.
So
That's so cool.
I also took drawing class. I was worried about that. Thought I got A+ this one.
Wow. So basically, तिमीले 1.5 years, 2 years मा सकायो Salem. When did you graduate?
2020, 21?
21 मा, right? That was right after COVID. So 21, I guess like that's pretty much the whole schooling aspect of it.
Yeah, right after that too, I did my certifications from Harvard. So त्यो चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भने कोर्सहरू दिइरा हुन्छ हैन and because I didn't really had any experience, I was willing to work in the biotech. तर biotech मा के हुन्छ भने ल्याबहरू वर्कहरू हुन्छ so experience it थिएन and I was like, you know what, I wanted to take more courses and classes भनेर so Harvard they do provide you with like summer course, winter and all of that. So I did take that and immunology I took 6-7 weeks more of classes. So मैले जुलाईमा चाहिँ त्यसमा नि graduate गरेँ and then I started looking for a job.
I feel like every girl I talk to nowadays is a boss lady. So I'm like,
I love that. We're the boss.
So before we transition like professional career, schooling time, 2 questions. One, what was your best moment till 4 or 5 years, and what was your most challenging or hardest, or a moment that you didn't enjoy?
The best moment when I was bunk kare yaad hai. No, I'm kidding. I think I really enjoyed science, especially anatomy, physiology, genetics, like the courses, and I really made good connections with my professors. Summer class and I was also like helping them out, and I really enjoyed it. So that was one of the best academic field worst one that but something I didn't really enjoy was I think nursing clinical. It was already hard for me like bihan uthera to jano and navigating everything, and also back in my head I never really wanted to do that, and it's an advice if you don't really want to do something or really gora bhanera chai do not do it. And I think I felt that tyo belama chai not that they said a wrong thing, obviously it's really good for someone who wants to pursue it, but in my head I was always wanting to do something else, not nursing. Okay? So I think I didn't really enjoyed my time at Baltimore as much, especially the last year. So it was a lot of struggle, but then the first year I again enjoyed. I met a lot of friends. I mean, canteen mein pura khaza pass karte Nepal jasari huncha ni, and I didn't have that in Boston. So I kind of enjoyed that too. So I think I have both like happy and sad memories in Baltimore.
That's great. And just to touch up on this point as well, just because someone tells you don't listen to that, which is so true.
That's right.
Especially when you're a young 18, 19-year-old kid that comes here, it's so easy to listen to everyone and take everyone's advice.
That is so
but
true.
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I want to touch up on this. नेपालमा चाहिँ कति धेरै रे भन्ने छ क्या रे यस्तो गर्यो भने यस्तो हुन्छ रे यस्तो रे and I was the victim of that ray.
Victim of the ray.
We were the victim of the ray, right? So I think now with the sources like this and internet, I think students and juniors are much smarter than how we were, or I was at least. But त्यो बेलामा चाहिँ यसले त्यसले उसले जे भन्यो त्यो हो रे भनेर अनि त्यसमै लागिन्छ के. So before taking any decisions, I think it's important to research and सबैको कुरा सुन तर decision आफैले लिऊ भन्छ नि. Do that, like, and it's not ट्रु कि अरूले मेजोरिटीले भनेको कुरा चाहिँ राइट हुन्छ भन्ने हुँदैन के समटाइम्स एकजनाले मात्रै भनेको कुरा इज राइट देन 500
Yeah,
people,
like
right?
especially for me, I think might not be applicable to everyone, but duita kura चाहिँ that I realized is one, the research आफैले गर्नु पर्यो, and second is don't listen to advice from your friends or your like age, you know, because they're in the same boat and they probably have no fucking clue what they're doing as well.
True.
Right?
True.
So at least 10, 15, 20 years who's lived the life that you want to live, if you listen to them, probably makes sense.
It helps a lot, yeah. Also, sometimes friends do have good suggestions and advice, but again, most of the time, especially regarding your career, because you're doing real estate and business and all of that, right? And I do not have any of those knowledge. तर तिमीले मलाई BioTech quest त गर भनेर it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like it's like teaching someone how to cook when you don't know how
yeah,
to cook,
exactly.
How to cook,
So एउटै कुरा भयो that makes sense. You have gone through, I've gone through. तर sometimes we just do that. We overstep, but then we have to know our boundaries too. And you have to be aware कि तिमीले मलाई suggestion दिए पनि I have to be aware Lost Rays from different fields. He gave me a suggestion, but I have to make my own choice. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so professional life ko kura garum. So school bio, all that, right? Let's talk about internships. Let's talk about the OPT, H1B work, all that stuff. What was your first internship? All that stuff.
So I think my first day I work at CVS Pharmacy as a pharmacist technician. That was my very first OPT because OPT you get 90 days of time to find a job. And I didn't really know that is such a big challenge, especially me being a science background. So I know IT, computer science, they have a lot of consultancies and a lot of other, help. For people like like BioTech or science background, you have to navigate yourself. Consultancies, it's hard. So when I graduated, there was nothing like that. Like, so I was confused. Like, कसरी apply गर्ने पनि थाहा थिएन के LinkedIn भने के हो पनि थाहा थिएन मलाई.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not kidding. So I had to. I don't know how I learned. I think I did connect it. Like that's what I.
So your first gig was
CVS Pharmacy. So I saw an opening and 90 days with them, you have to find a job. And then I was like, and you have to find a job that's related to your field.
Yeah.
So science, biology. Yeah. So you cannot I cannot be like, okay, more biology or I want business.
I did not know that.
Yeah. You have to find it that you have your course on, like timbre curriculum bitra hunu parcha ke. And then you have a ticking clock, right? So it's very much of a pressure. So मैले चाहिँ यसो सोचे pharmacy पनि I know a little bit of science and it might make sense भनेर and I went to a pharmacy and I interviewed. It was very subtle. It was very like के गर्छु कसो गर्छु and it was that. So I started being a technician pharmacy भित्र.
So for people that don't know what it is, I don't know what it is. Like
I'll explain. So CVS Pharmacy is like it's a big brand of pharmacy, and I was helping a pharmacist to prepare the medication. So prescription आउँछ. So doctor ले तिमीलाई prescribe गरेको medication चाहिँ pharmacy मा आउँछ. अनि pharmacy technician को काम चाहिँ त्यो prescription हेरेर तिम्रो patientहरुको नाम हेरेर त्यो medication कुन कुन औषधि तयार पार्ने के गर्ने अनि पेशेन्ट आउँदाखेरि अब कसैलाई हेडेक भएको छ भने कुन औषधि दिने and all of that, फोन उठाउने, just a technician को very normal काम थियो. अनि I took that job because त्यो time limit को लागि, but I was also looking for other job because eventually I wanted to get into like lab work, science work and all of that, right? So then the first job that was like kind of side job, and then the first one I got was at manufacturing. So त्यो चाहिँ
timeline पनि actually भन त. When was
I think my pharmacy I worked for like 2 months. That's
I know,
it.
but when was this?
21.
21 ma.
Yeah.
So त्यो भयो अनि त्यहाँ manufacturing thing.
Yeah, right after 2 months in 21, the same year. Manufacturing I got a job and that was like real like lab भित्र काम गर्ने, and I was kind of excited because first time all of that. But it's also very much of an upskill. So manufacturing भनेको कस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि कुनै पनि drug product बनाए or whatever, like तिमीले citamol बनायो हैन नेपालमा citamol
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while.
So citamol बनायो अनि त्यो citamol त एउटा मात्रै बनाएर हुँदैन नि त. म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङले चाहिँ धेरैवटा like upskill like धेरै नम्बरमा बनाउनु पर्छ. So manufacturing भनेको चाहिँ any product you make in big quantity के. So I was working for Metrozel, which is cancer study को लागि कोट गर्ने एउटा जेल हो के सो त्यो चाहिँ यति धेरै like heavy work थियो हैन I got excited I accepted the offer and all of that तर त्यो whole lab भित्र I was the only woman and everyone were like this tall and they were like so heavy work and I was kind of like thin that time and you know it was like really hard for me to like hold those things and all of that but I learned a lot but when I was in manufacturing I realized like I want to know the science म just एउटा प्रोटोकल फलो गरेर एउटै कुरा बनाइरहेको थिएँ हैन तर I didn't really know like मेरो पढाइ चाहिँ कहाँ युज भयो त I have no idea so that's when I thought like I want to do research like त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ like okay I want to get into the research I want to do more of like understanding the science के हुन्छ कसो हुन्छ भनेर and I switched from manufacturing job to a biotech job into research and development and I become a scientist
wow to manufacture how long did you work
that was a contract position I worked there for
a year and you got into research
yeah
what like talk about the transitions is it easy how like what does that look like
I think the time as I was lucky because the time as a recruiters had the phone
oh my god high in demand
yeah recruiters you come to the phone on like
I'll talk to you tomorrow
yeah अहिले चाहिँ त्यस्तो छैन you know you have to please the recruiter त्यो टाइममा चाहिँ if there is any opening they would reach out to you so one of the recruiter reached out to me and he was like there is a startup company so भर्खर खोलेको gene therapy मा company छ and there is a lot of room to grow what do you think and मलाई चाहिँ because I didn't really have a lot of experience so and I only had like my undergrad my bachelor's and whenever you enter a biotech most of the people have like masters and PhD so I had to be up against those candidates with PhD and you know me being with bachelor's less experience all of that it was a big challenge for me but startup company ma जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ there is a room to grow and lot to learn because भर्खर company पनि start भइरहेको हुन्छ अनि तिमीलाई जे पनि सिकाउँछ के so I was like yeah why not so I stepped in and you know मैले अगाडि भनेको थिएँ नि मलाई मुसासँग डर लाग्यो मुसासँग डर लागेर युएस आयो भनेर and that job was working with a mouse that was like in vivo bhन्छ when you work with mouse in vivo work so मलाई चाहिँ in vivo work लागि भयो हैन and I was like I love the company I love the manager I love everyone but then I have to work with mouse like I have a phobia like how do I work when नेपालबाट भागेर यहाँ आए अनि यहाँ
wait so when you say work with the mouse like what does that look like
so you know I work in the lab so I do research and research मा चाहिँ there is always animal model so कस्तो हुन्छ भने lab मा एउटा product बनाउँछ in vitro भनेको चाहिँ cell like you know you simulation work हरू गर्छ and then suppose तिम्रो सिटामोल बनाएपछि पनि डाइरेक्ट ह्युमन मा त जाँदैन नि त केही न केही कुनै एनिमल मोडलमा टेस्ट भएपछि बल्ल ह्युमन ट्रायलहरू हुन्छ सो त्यो टेस्ट कुनै ड्रग्सहरू चाहिँ तिम्रो एनिमल मोडलमा टेस्ट गर्न या कुनै थेरापीहरू निकाल्नको लागि you need those animals so I was doing more of the in vivo work so I was testing the drugs I was actually making the drugs like म चाहिँ gene therapy मा काम गर्थेँ so genetic disease को लागि DNA हरू integrate गर्ने and you know all of that work so त्यही भएर mouse work that's what I did so
how long were you there or are you still there
I was there for like 3 years
oh wow
yeah I grew with the company you know and so I was there, but then I got promoted and all of that. But the company has to come to an end because it was a startup. So that was the first layoff I ever experienced. That was last year. Yeah. And दुई दिन त रमाइलो लाग्यो
because you've been working the entire time
आनन्दले चिल गर्छु भनेपछि चाहिँ 3 दिनदेखि चाहिँ फेरि क्लक and at that time मेरो कम्पनीले स्पोन्सर गर्यो so I was H1B I am on my H1B visa हैन त्यो भनेको चाहिँ वर्क भिजा हो so H1B को चाहिँ 60 days क्लक हुन्छ के अनि 2 दिन चिल गर्यो 3 दिनदेखि चाहिँ लाख लाग्छ भनेर so I started looking for a job and that was kind of a struggle because त्यतिखेरसम्म चाहिँ market was completely off like there was no like recruiters like phone आउँदैन थियो you have to find a job you have to you know be very proactive and it was kind of tough time त्यो time चाहिँ त्योपछि I got another job actually in fact I got a couple of like offers and I chose one of the best company one of the big pharma but my luck unfortunately the company entire team that I was working with got laid off after working there for 2 months So 1 month and a half.
Wow.
So मैले काम कहीँ पाउने बित्तिकै I got laid off again. And the most thing that hurt me was like मसँग कति धेरै offer थियो मैले त्यही choose गरेँ.
त्यो लिने बित्तिकै
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate. तर पनि it was quite a good experience because I got a lot of connections from there. It was a big company, so it worked well. Name worked well for me. त्यसपछि चाहिँ I went back to those other offer letters I got, and they called me back, and I got another offer.
Yeah.
And then the offer पाएको 3 हप्ता, so 60 days time period भन्यो नि त. So offer पाएँ अनि offer पाएपछि म chill भएर बसेँ. I like offer पाएँ भनेर. अनि offer पाएको 30 दिनपछि चाहिँ the company was like हाम्रो budget cut भयो, so we are cutting the whole position.
Oh my god.
So I was like, what? So
now you have to go back to the
another finding. But then listen, the worst thing is मसँग 60 days थियो, 30 days त म chill गरेँ because I had offer. 30 days पछि offer गएपछि I only had 30 days to find job and get the offer, get everything transferred, and that was such a big stress for me. And that happened last month in
This
April.
one I know of.
Right?
This one I know
of.
Yeah, I know of. Oh my god.
I completely dished out everyone. And I was like, I have to focus on finding the job.
Asmi, ke garde ho? I was like, oh,
I'm so messed up.
I was stressed.
Yeah.
I'm stressed.
Yeah, so that was how
it's cool, like, I have a follow-up question, right? Because I think typical international student, they don't get the opportunity to work so many different jobs, be in so many different roles. Forget about different roles, just sustain that many years.
Yeah.
So what's your secret sauce for someone who's watching?
Yeah.
That's like, hey, मलाई नि different ठाउँमा काम गर्नु मन छ, मलाई पनि टन्ने offer अरू चाहिरहेको छ, right? All that stuff. Like, what would you recommend someone who's watching to?
I think the secret sauce भन्दाखेरि obviously work hard, and nothing comes without your hard work. Second biggest thing for me is networking. To be honest, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to make those connections. Leverage on those coworkers or professors or friends you work with, like anything. Like you may know people that I don't know, right? So you're just one hello away from that opportunity. So मेरो लागि चाहिँ to find jobs, to find different like offers, to navigate throughout this whole industry was the support of my coworkers, that networking. I would just go and say hello and just tell them that I was looking for a job, I'm doing this and that. So that helped me a lot. So if you're someone, especially हाम्रो नेपालमा चाहिँ अरूलाई गएर अप्रोच गर्न बोल्न अलि डराउँछौँ क्या हामी. I think this is something that leadership को लागि पनि it helps a lot. It helps you long way के. अनि especially USA मा चाहिँ networking, finding people, do not be scared to go up front and just say hi. That is so important, and I think that is my secret sauce. I don't have any other sauces.
No soy sauce, no
soy sauce.
So networking.
Yeah, networking. I think definitely keep applying, keep working hard, tailor your resume, do everything that you normally do, but plus plus पनि works extra hard. कहिलेकाहीँ just send extra message for like thank you note. Interview दिइसकेपछि interviewerलाई thank you so much यताउति भन्यो भने पनि they would get a good impression of you. That's what I did. I said thank you to many people.
Oh my god. So I feel like I said the same thing to Pragya, but then she had so many good insights that we went over 30 minutes because we were trying to do our podcast 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So I have two final questions.
Okay.
Right? एउटा चाहिँ for all the international students, or let's say भर्खर you आएको भन्दा पनि नेपालमा छ, they're about to come, or for the students that's about to graduate, what's one or two pieces of advice that you'd give them?
I think if you're planning to come to the United States or any abroad countries, have that mindset that you should be able to navigate it yourself. And you should have that mindset, because I do have friends who went to the United States or who went to different other countries, and then they went back to Nepal because it's not that easy. So कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ photo pictures and you see beaches and all these buildings, and it's really fun, but reality is really very different than how it is. So you have to have that mindset, even though कसैलाई नहोस् गाह्रो नहोस्, तर पनि mindset, and be prepared that you will have to struggle. So that is something. And other thing is, I think focus on also finding people who you have like similar background with,
Mm.
like networking again. I don't know, like networking is so important, and I wish more US आउने बित्तिकै if I was this person, if I was talking to a lot of people, networking, I would not have lost my 2 years in nursing, or I would not be like roaming around different states or whatsoever, right? So त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै important छ, to find people who have already gone through a process and talking to them and asking for help. Like, do not be scared to talk to people, reach out to people, and just say hello. And yeah, I think that's two of the biggest things that I have learned myself, and I would advise all the newcomers.
Wow.
What do you think?
That's amazing. And especially team networking. Good segue to a promo.
Yeah.
So hashtag NSA Boston, basically what it is it's an organization we started to connect Nepali students, professionals, and executives in Boston. While our Nepali community is still Rambutina, but we're trying to change that. So if you come to Boston, if you're in Boston, if you're out of state and trying to move to Boston, come to our events.
NSA Boston.
NSA Boston. Find us on Instagram at NSA_Boston. So last question, Zain. If you were to do something different, nursing ko to so besides that, if you were to do something different, 2015 देखि अहिलेसम्म, one thing, what would it be?
I would not have gone to Baltimore.
Really?
Well, I love it, but then, I don't know. I don't know why I say that, but yeah, I still appreciate all the experience I've had there and everything. But again, well, maybe because of Baltimore, I am who I am today. So I do have that appreciation. But एकदमै different गर्नु पर्थ्यो भने, I think for me, I would try to find my community in Boston. Because one of the biggest reasons why I went to Baltimore was because I didn't feel sense of belongingness in the beginning. Like, Nepali नै छैन, like, दाल भात तरकारी नखाएको कति भयो. All of that, right? But अहिले I have so many amazing Nepalese community, and I think that's why I'm so active in all these communities in Boston, and I love Boston. Like, Boston is my second home, and it has my heart, so I'm not leaving it, although it's expensive.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashmi, that was a wrap.
Yes. Okay.
Thought. We're trying to make this a tradition. Somebody guessed like we're doing a rapid fire round where we just ask quick questions, quick
Bro,
answers.
I didn't know that.
I know.
I'm scared. What's the different one?
This I need to check. 7 questions at the so
Okay.
very simple. Might put you in a hot seat.
I feel like it. Like, ready? Oh shit.
Ready?
Well, first time rapid fire got the way.
Okay. First question.
I'm ready.
Best Nepali restaurant in Boston for you?
Domsa.
Second question. One thing you miss the most from Nepal or about Nepal?
Celebrating Kasai or festivals.
Third question. One food you can't find in the US that you'd probably want to have?
In US?
Or it's hard to find?
Like, momo from Nepal is really different. I hate to say this, but I do not like momo in Boston.
No, but like one thing it's hard to find.
Juzudau dai. Juzudau.
Smart.
And also Nepali donut.
So next question. Favorite Nepali festival to celebrate in US or basically Baltimore, Boston? Favorite Nepali festival to celebrate?
I think Dansai Tihar.
Ita
पनि त्यही हो. Yeah.
So
I think Tihar. I love Tihar. Yeah. Because you also have like dog kukur Tihar and I have a dog, so I'm a huge dog person.
Damn, I didn't know about this too, and we've been friends for a while now. So So next question. If your parents visited you in the US, what's the first place you take them? They're visiting me pretty soon in a few months, and I'm taking them to New York to Boston, Harvard. I'm taking them to She said New York. I was like, yeah, I don't really like Boston, New York. Sorry. Suruma Boston, Harvard. This was a Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' down for Boston. Okay, next question. Best Nepali song for homesick days? Dasaiko, Asmi Pokharelko Dasai Tihar. I don't know why I'm going back to Dasai Tihar, but I think Dasai Tihar could do that song. It just like, it brings back so many memories and it's just fun. I love that. So last question is the first Nepali word or phrase you would teach your non-Nepali friends.
I don't know. मेरो नाम के हो? I don't swear, so that's. I do not swear. You'd never hear me swearing, especially on Nepali mata. I don't swear at all.
So first Nepali word or phrase you would teach them.
I think के छ. I've taught a lot of my non-Nepali friends के छ भन्न. के छ ठिक छ. Yeah, I've done that so many times. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't swear, so yeah.
And that is a wrap.
That's amazing.
That's a
I
wrap.
enjoyed it.
So for everyone watching, if you guys enjoyed this episode with Ashmi
I'm pretty sure you enjoyed it.
and want us to have more guests so that we can have more stories and insights, please like, comment down below,
subscribe. Yay, bye.